In an unsuccessful attempt to browse for ideas for my thesis paper, I stumbled upon a news article that female CEOs earn more than their male counterparts. This immediately caught my eye since I've been focusing a lot on gender economics, and knowing the basics about the pay gap, or in other words, the difference in compensation between men and women, it almost seemed counterintuitive. Fortunately, or unfortunately for my social life, for the past few weeks I have been working extensively with ExecuComp, a database collecting information on executive compensation for the S&P 1500 companies spanning over the last 3 decades. So I recruited Elisa to help me test if whether these results can be replicated on a sample larger than 100 companies mentioned in the article.
At first glance, the results seem promising. Indeed, on average, female CEOs earn about $200,000 more in real terms. That would be great news if either of us will become executives, who knows? It also seems that based on a simple or less regression, being a female CEO was associated with a 14 log point increase in compensation, a reverse gender pay gap. So far so good. However, it never really is that simple now, is it? For one, women usually constitute a lower percentage of executives. In fact, according to the ExecuComp data, despite their considerable earnings, women in 2020 accounted for only a 6% share of the 1,500 largest company CEOs. Even though it's a very low share, it still has increased from the 90s, when not even 1 in 100 of the CEOs were women. Unfortunately, this increase in the share of female CEOs could also explain why female CEOs on average earn more across our dataset.
So, if we add just one more control, the year of observation, the difference between women and men becomes statistically insignificant at the 97.5% confidence interval. It is not unlikely that the cause for this is increased CEO compensation. As we can see here, CEOs now earn more than double what they did in 1992, and since more women became CEOs when the compensation increased, there are fewer observations of them receiving lower payments. Regretfully, our story of CEO compensation does not end here. If we control for firm effects, women actually were paid around 5 log points less than men. In other words, in a given company, a female CEO was actually paid less than her male counterparts. Not to mention, there could be other criteria uncovering how female executives are underpaid based on their education or performance. Even though technically the article title is not incorrect, it could misrepresent the actual situation. Of course, we used a different data set, but gender imbalance is still present even in the top 100 companies used by Equilar in their research. We should celebrate the victories of women's empowerment, but overconfident reporting is not the solution for discrimination.